Hello and welcome to Moldav. I'm your guide, Lewis Nichols. What you have found here is a storytelling project. We're following Dresden Fane. He's a dwarf, he's an adventurer, a warrior in a warrior's culture. We're going to be following this little guy through his travels pretty much from day one and through a world of all kinds of enemies, monsters, and bad guys, and bandits, and villains. But first, he's got to get started, and so do we. Little word of warning. There is some cussing. There are some adult overtones. Nothing too terribly profane or descriptive, but I am not claiming this is for the kids. So adults, make your own decisions before letting the children listen. As this is Dresden's tale itself, we're not going to get too much into world building except for the basics for the necessity of the story. We're not going to get too much into the details about me. Pretty much nothing at all. But there are two companion episodes that you'll want to check out. We have Nuts and Bolts, which gets into the physics of the world, the geography, the history, all that kind of stuff. And we have a series called How We Got Here, which is more about me and my journey along the long years that I've worked on this personal writing hobby of mine, and the story itself. Now, as we've done the prologue for this video, Dresden's tale itself has a prologue, a couple of them actually. We're going to dive right in and start the story. With a costume as exaggerated as his movements, an actor swaggered across the stage. A giant plaster mask encompassed his entire head, and a suit emulating freakishly huge muscles completely hid his identity. The past hero he imitated was Old Grey, the iconic Minotaur warrior. A second character followed in his path. This one just as overstated, but in the guise of Byron, the Monkey warrior of epic proportion. The two play-acted at stealth, but dominated the stage with audacity. The story was a retelling of the recovery of the Stone of Strength, just one small chapter in the great holy quest. 2,000 years ago, the people of Moldav lost favor with the gods, stripped of magic and spiritual guidance, left to burn in the holy crucible, praying to be reborn. The 24 deities of the Celt faith were vengeful, only rewarding the worthy. That incredible centuries-long ordeal came to a conclusion only 4 short years before this story begins. It left a people weathered for hardship and predatory zealotry. Rib Gnasher, the villain of the play, was now on center stage. The shadow demon, the son of the forest god Abergrayon, portrayed by 6 men holding a huge black-stained fabric aloft by sticks. In the darkness of night, with just the right level of torchlight, it looked far more frightening than any oversized bedsheet had a right to. The play ended as Othon, the Daring, sacrificed his life so that his companions could steal away with the stone. The moral was obvious. To sacrifice oneself for the faith was the greatest achievement a warrior could hope to accomplish. In the audience, a young dwarven man nodded, looking as if he understood. He helped his grandfather up towards the exit. The actor, portraying Othon, giving one last monologue. With articulate grace, he reminded the audience that Rib Gnasher still lurked in the untamed wilderness, that the gods still had great expectations of their chosen people, and that only the luckiest warriors would find the honor to die well enough to gain the immortality of theater. And that's where Prologue 1 leaves off. Prologue 2 finds Dresden Fane fighting to get the dirt out of his eyes, sweat and soil combining to make burning muck that stung away his sight. Swinging wildly, the dwarf tried to avoid his opponent until his vision cleared, but he could only go so far. The crowd booed. hissing accusations of stalling. When he came too close to the edge, the ring of onlookers pushed him back into the middle. The challenge, a tradition as old as any history book could tread. At stake this day was possession of an upper bunk. Winter was coming, and the barracks were warmer near the ceiling. Nearly every bed was up for grabs as the house's stronger fighters began to prepare for the long, cold winter. Everything could be resolved by determining the strongest warrior and giving him what he wanted. Hence was ordained the right of strength. Dresden threw a punch that connected square in the human's crotch. Hongus was a friend to the dwarf, but a fight was a fight. It didn't just mean the bunk. It was bragging rights, and a win might bring better duties or even an extra helping of dinner, along with the warmer bed. In a warrior's world, victories earned rewards. Trying to take advantage of his stunned opponent, Dresden moved behind him and kicked him in the legs. It took 2 strikes, but the taller warrior lost his footing and fell. Fucking dwarf, Hongus cursed as he tried to protect himself from a flurry of vicious kicks to the ribs. Let's not make this a racial thing, you soft-skinned wannabe, Dresden taunted him. Hongus got a hold on his shirt, pulling him down. The battle was becoming a wrestling match. The human couldn't use his height, but he was still strong as an ogre. Neither one could land an effective punch. Again, the crowd booed as Dresden caught him in a headlock. Crooking down his arm, the dwarf had every intention of riding out the hole till his friend passed out or gave up. Lizard, chick, fucking short-ass little dick. Hongus's words were almost unintelligible. Dwarven stamina, I can do this all day. He clenched down hard, hoping his friend would give up. Instead, Dresden could feel the man preparing for one last push to victory. For all intents and purposes, it was over the second Hongus got to a knee. Suddenly all that strength came into play, and Dresden was 6 feet in the air, still trying to hold on. He felt a hand grip his privates like a vice. Using them like a handle, Hongus pried the dwarf loose, hurling into the ground. 4 hard kicks, and Dresden was done. When he regained consciousness, he groaned, realizing they had unceremoniously thrown him into the bottom bunk. So there you go. That's the introduction, the prologue to Dresden's Tale. It's also the beginning of our YouTube storytelling adventure. There's a lot of material here. My first goal is to get out the 24 chapters of book 1, along with all the accompanying material. I am so pleased that you spent a few minutes with me. You could have been doing anything, but you decided to come here and visit me. I will see you again, hopefully in just a few days, whenever the next episode is up and running. Do all the stuff, hit the likes, do the subscribe thing. It really does help. Probably visit me on Patreon. I'm sure I'll have that set up by the time this goes live. And let's see what else. Yeah, there's the Twitter thing too. Who knew I would have a Twitter someday? But it's going to give story updates as well as any material that I can use in that format. Thank you very much, and everyone have a great day.